All right. Well, let's get off to the races here. Can everybody hear me all right? Am I coming through? Somebody give me a thumbs up or give me an emoji or yeah, thank you, Heather, Megan. All right. Oh boy, you guys are right on the ball. Fantastic. All right. Well, today, this month, we're going to wrap up our series on dehumanization. And I will tell you, this is the root of all evil. Everything. And this is something everyone needs to be aware of because we do it all the time. So let's get off to the races. A couple of preview points here. For you HR folks out there, I thought, well, we get interrupted with all kinds of things. I know that you do. So here are the codes for today. There you go. We're going to cheat a little bit, and we're going to give those to you at the beginning here. And just as a reminder to everybody, sometime next week, this is going to be posted with my other Lunch and Learn videos, all the podcasts on the Ohio Fair website and on my website. So I know that I don't want to bother you with emails and things like this, but so I don't send reminders, hey, this is posted, but this is going to be posted. If you go to my website and you hit free resources, underneath that, it says Ohio Fair and free lunch and learns. Go there, and they're all posted for free, as well as all the past podcasts. All right. And you can also go to Ohio Fair, which is fairforall.org/Ohio. And they are posted there, easy to find, because I will tell you, all of these things that we're doing here, they're designed to save diversity. It is amazing how many times I get folks that are telling me that I'm trying to kill diversity. No, DEI is killing itself. All right, I will tell you, we've had a whole series of things here. Our goal with FAIR and Ohio Fair is to have diversity in the workplace and to stop with our illegal training, which is absolutely rampant. And it's really sad. A lot of the DEI people that I talk to, they don't even recognize it when it's illegal. Well, I will tell you right now. Let me just, hey, here's our first polling question. All right, here's our first polling question. You can chat me up. You can open your mic. You can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. How many people think that if you put a program in place for hiring or mentorships or training or something, and then you get sued because it was an illegal program, how many people think you're probably getting fired? Who wants to give me a thumbs up on yeah? Okay, absolutely. And I will tell you, this has to stop. We want diversity. And I'll tell you, go to FAIR, Foundation Against Intolerance and Racism. And when I explain what FAIR is, that we're here to make Ohio fair and the country fair for everyone, I often get somebody say, well, it's a bunch of white people. Oh, we couldn't have that, could we? Oh, no, mustn't have that. No, our leader happens to be black. All right? Our board, look at our board. Okay? This is for all humans. If you are human, I want a diverse workforce. I want everyone to have a shot. Now, if you have taken my request and joined Ohio Fair, I have your email, and I'm going to shoot you an email here first part of the week. I've been doing these podcasts to launch Make Ohio Fair, and it's been wonderful. We've added a lot of people to our roster. I want all of you to join because we are going to have our first planning session for 2025 on December 19th, 2024 at 12 o'clock. And we'll have a few of these. And so we're going to discuss, what do we want for Ohio? Sure. Or I'm sorry, Ohio Fair. Good. I'm going to bite my tongue off there. Good Lord. Oh, no. Ohio Fair. What do we want there? Should we have certain guest speakers? I got one suggestion that we should go and we should discuss the movie Am I a racist? All great ideas. I just wanted to get us started in 2024. So I have taken the spearhead of these podcasts, and I'll show you what's coming with these podcasts and everything. And we can continue to do those. We can do whatever you want to do. Sometimes people want to discuss certain topics. Well, maybe we have an open discussion. I tell you right now, I want your feedback. If you have signed up for Ohio SHRM, or God, I'm going to bite my tongue off here, for Ohio Fair. See how I'm programmed? I'm just programmed. I've, got to work on that. For Ohio Fair, you will get an email from me. So if you have not yet signed up, sign up and join the Club for Humans. Now, very exciting news, because this has bothered me for 10 years. I started working on this program years before I even published my book, Tolerance and Diversity for White Guys and Other Human Beings, or my subsequent book, Living the 5 Skills of Tolerance. Okay, I had to change the name a little bit because of the death threats I was getting, because how dare you involve white people. Okay. This is Inclusion University for Humans. I'm working with FAIR on this, just had a fantastic 2-hour meeting with them, and we are going to be working together to put together a course for diversity that is, bullet number 1, doesn't alienate or blame anyone for what all humans, the faults all humans possess. It doesn't tell you what to believe, tells you how to behave. It doesn't teach illegal diversity tactics, and will truly target everyone. All right. So I'll tell you, all humans are welcome. See, here's the thing. If I point out the illegal teachings of DEI, or the stereotyping and all these things that drive people away, which is killing DEI across this country, and those of you who sat in on my legal update in December, we're going to do it again in February. Anybody here who sat in on that, of the 6 hours, half hour, 45 minutes was dedicated to the companies who are falling like flies. They're getting sued and they're losing. And I'll tell you, it's really sad. These companies are saying they're getting sued and they're losing, and they're saying, what? We're just doing what our HR people told us to do. We're just doing what the DEI people told us to do. I know. Don't do that. So this is what's coming, folks. 2025, I'm going in the studio first part of January, start doing the recording. We are going to put out an alternative. And this is for DE&I. This is for inclusion. This is for diversity. This is going to correct all of those holes and all those problems that are alive and well in DEI today. We're going to teach you what is legal and illegal. We're going to teach you all of these different areas that tend to backfire on DE&I. Now remember, we're not going to focus on just minorities. We're not going to just focus on disabilities. We're going to focus on everyone. Each class is going to be 30 minutes. It's going to be a video with discussion questions, and you will have a diversity program that is legal and truly involves everyone. All right, so you've already seen knowing the law regarding diversity. We've already done that one. That's going to be in there. Last month, we talked about overcoming the mighty subconscious, and that's for all humans. Today, dehumanization. So you see, this is enough programming for you for a couple of years. Yes, it's actually going to be 10 hours of programming, and we're going to include in that all of the videos that you need to comply with the requirements of harassment training for every state in the union. So I'm really excited. I'm still dumb enough to think that we can change the world. I really am that stupid. All right, because I'll tell you, this stuff has to stop. We have to make this world a good place for every little Jewish kid, for every little black child, for every little brown child, for every little white child, for every little everybody. and I want your help. I am desperately asking for your help by signing up to FAIR and for Ohio FAIR, or if you are in one of the other states out on the West Coast, sign up for your local FAIR. We need numbers. We need support. We need people standing up and saying, I hate the hate. I'm going to be very intolerant of somebody's intolerance. That's where we're going. Okay, so all of these are going to be posted on the FAIR for all.org.ohio website. So let's get off to the races here. All right, the root of all evil. Now, let me ask you, all my friends out there, do we label people? Do we look at somebody and instantly categorize them? Give me some feedback here, folks. I got some real live humans here that live in the world. Yeah, thank you, Kelly. I'm so glad you still believe. I know. Okay. I just feel like I'm standing there waiting for the ocean to come in and hit me in a tsunami. Okay. But yes, of course we do, Lisa. All right. And look, yeah, somebody got a comment for me? I love it when you speak up. You win a book. Okay, yes, we label. Yes, we do. Now, see the guy on the far end here? Okay, Frank Mink. All right, now right away, he's got a big Nazi symbol right on his neck. Are we gonna label him? Are we gonna exclude him? Is he no longer human? And should we just take him out and hang him now? And let's look at the next guy. That's my cousin, Chris Coleman. Okay, that's my cousin. All right. He was a Columbus police officer, and this was a good cop. Big teddy bear, 6'4" or something, big teddy bear. This is exactly what you want for a police officer. And one night on Refugee Road, someone saw that he was a police officer crossing the road, sped up and ran him down and killed him. That is dehumanization. We labeled him. All they knew is that he was a cop. And there is one of the saddest stories I've ever seen in my life. Elijah McClain. And if you don't know who Elijah McClain is, you got to Google this poor kid. Young, black masseuse, had a few medical problems, was autistic. In Aurora, Colorado, all they knew about this guy is that he was black. He was out walking the streets while black. What a sin. And literally, I mean, you thought George Floyd was bad. This kid, they literally beat him and choked him to death. Absolutely. This guy was so kind, he wouldn't harm a fly. Okay. He used to go in and play his violin for the cats at a cat refuge because it calmed them down. Do you see? Did they kill people? I'm going to ask you a real serious question. Are these three individuals in front of you, are they human? Yes. These are all human beings. And let me just ask you a question. Of course. Thank you, because I will tell you right now, I am told point blank when I say we got to treat everybody like humans. I am not kidding. It breaks my heart. I am told by the leaders of DEI, oh no, we should not treat each other like human beings because that takes away from the disproportional impact against minorities. I don't think they have a clue what they're saying. Do you understand that you just said we're not going to treat each other like human beings? That is exactly what Hitler did. That is exactly what happened in Rwanda. We are dealing with fire here. All right. So, yes. Now let's get down to the core here. Martin Buber, Nobel Prize nominee. He summed it up perfectly coming right out of the Holocaust. Objectification or bigotry. What is it? It occurs whenever I change you from a you to an it. As soon as I do that, I've dehumanized you. You are no longer a human being. In my mind, you're an animal. You're an animal. That's what objectification is. That's what dehumanization is. I don't see you as an object anymore. Or I see you as an object. You're not a human being. So you know what? I can kill you. Because you're not real. Really, doesn't that sound ridiculous? Oh, now think about this. Have you ever heard this in your workplace? Here's the point for today. I never want to hear anyone objectify a human being. I never want to hear you label somebody because all you people are the same. You know, all those people are hillbillies. Boy, those people are cheap. Boy, those people are all drunks. Boy, hold your hand up if you've ever heard this in a workplace. Or at Christmas, boy, those people sure are stupid. Well, I got news for you. They're saying the same thing about you. Okay. There's my Irish friends. Are all those people drunks? Okay. Those people are nothing but animals. How many people, anybody got any comments on this? Have you heard these things? How about for Democrats? How about Republicans? All those Republicans, all those Democrats. Whoa, whoa. Do you know what you have just done? You have just deactivated your medial prefrontal cortex, MPC. Your brain has shut down. Now, what is the medial prefrontal cortex? That is a section in your frontal lobes, and that section is pretty much responsible for your empathy for other human beings. Now, think about this. Think of the danger in your workplace. You know, all those clerks are this, or all those public sector people, all those blacks are this, all those white guys are guilty. You've just turned off a part of your brain, it deactivates. And that happens every time you dehumanize somebody and you categorize them by that. Now, does this help to sort of explain the evil in the world? Oh, Kevin's giving me something good here. Thank you. Recently, we saw the dehumanization of Brian Thompson, the CEO, who was gunned down in cold blood. Kevin, you see this every day. He wasn't a human being anymore. He was the symbol of everything that's wrong in the healthcare industry. You just dehumanized him and murdered him. Okay? Heather's telling me, have heard them and been guilty of saying them. Oh, let me just clear this up. Thank you, Heather. Oh, Heather, you're after my own heart here. We've all done this. We have all done this. And when you do that, you shut down your empathy. MPC, it shuts off. Oh, yes. And so when you hear somebody doing this, do them a favor. Do them a favor. That's a human being. That is a person. That's a person. Now, I'll tell you. Oh, Kathy, thank you. I always tell my students that was how Hitler convinced his followers that it was okay to kill the Jews. Kathy, you shoot me an email. Scott@scottwarrick.com. You shoot me an email. I want you to take your pick of a book. You just want a free book, any one you want. I'm happy to send it to you. You are so right. Now, we didn't know for years, just within the last decade or so, that your MPC shuts down. But look at the rhetoric. This is exactly the recipe for Nazis. For Nazis. Okay? So what did they say about Jews? Jews are poison. They are rats. Oh, and if you look at the videos, and I have studied the Holocaust in depth. I have traveled to Dachau, the first concentration camp, and I shot a video which is posted on my website. I crawl into the bunks. I go into the gas chamber. I go into the showers. You see what it was like. And you see the videos that the Nazis put out, and they show Jews and then a bunch of rats scurrying into the sewers. They're shutting off your MPC. Don't fall for it. And any DEI person who tells you, oh no, we're not going to treat each other like humans because that takes away from the importance of minorities. Oh no, that is pure evil. And you know what? They have no idea what they're doing. You see the problem? We sometimes cause more harm than good with the best of intentions. Jews are bandits. They're terrorists. They're cockroaches. I'm getting some great comments here. You guys are loaded today. I love it. I'm horrified by some of the things I see on Facebook and friends who are forwarding a meme advocating that other insurance executives receive the same treatment. Pat, send me your email address. You just want a book. You just want a book. These are human beings. And it's really interesting. I saw this one interview, and it was with Piers Morgan, and they were talking to this quote, quote, expert, and she goes that she doesn't feel any sympathy for the symbol of the CEO who was shot and killed. You know, there's sympathy for the family and everything, but there's no sympathy for the symbol. Do you realize what you just did? You just said that he's not a human being. He is a symbol. And just like you're saying here, on Facebook, we see this, and people do this routinely. Let me just stop the presses here, folks. This absolutely, positively, 100% has to be in your diversity program, or you have no diversity program. And I am horrified by what I'm hearing from the HR leadership in my own state that I've been canceled for, saying that we don't treat each other like human beings. Oh, you will have to kill me to shut me up. You've got to be kidding me, because this is exactly what we're heading for. Okay, yes, Pat, absolutely. Oh, Bronwyn, I visited Flossenburg, a lesser-known concentration camp in Bavaria, Germany. Very sad. Oh, Bronwyn, send me your email address. Yeah, Tom Verman. And today it is racist, anti-whatever as the label. Yeah, I label everything. And I'll show you why we do that, but we got to stop doing it. So, oh yeah, Bronwyn, I don't know if you've got your mic handy or something. Can you tell us what it was like to go through Flossenburg? Are you available on microphone?
I am, yes. It is a smaller concentration camp. We saw the furnaces where they burned the bodies. And I found it disturbing that they have planted flower gardens in it, and it was beautiful, and yet it was a concentration camp. So I was disturbed by them trying to put beauty into it as we were touring it. It was very interesting.
You know, I tell you, did the hair on your arms just stand on edge?
The whole time. I don't remember that specifically, but just being disturbed, having studied German I was an exchange student at the time, so I was only 16, 17 when I was doing this tour. But I knew about World War II before I went over as an exchange student. So I found it interesting that it was a group of Germans that took me to this camp, and I was glad that they shared that with me. We saw some border wall as well, like some it was up a little bit. Actually, it might have been further north in Bavaria, or even north toward Berlin also, where Flossenburg was, because we were traveling that day.
No,
fences with the wires around the top for the border. It was disturbing.
It was still there.
It was still there.
Yeah. The Germans have a very different way of dealing with the terrible history that they have, as opposed to what we do. If you walk throughout Germany, you will see little plaques in all these towns like Munich and places like this, Dachau, and you'll see the plaques of somebody who was Jewish or gay or a social democrat or a unionized worker or something like this. All these folks were taken to the concentration camps and death camps. It wasn't just Jews, but it was a bunch of people. And there's a remembrance plaque. Actually, when I was shooting my video at Dachau, I had to wait for the school children to get out of the way. Every every child in Germany has to go through and see what they did
When I
Now, they
was in
didn't personally
school
do it.
there as a teen, I was in a history class and they were talking about the Hitler Putsch, about the book he wrote in prison, and they were learning
Mm.
their history, which I was grateful for.
Yeah, and they don't want to repeat it. We're not going to ever do this again. Unlike here in Germany, if you go out with a Nazi logo, they will arrest you. So I will tell you, I'm not saying one's right, one's wrong, but I will tell you right now, words are dangerous. Words will rewire your brain. It's called social epigenetics. Your brain will actually rewire to the environment you subject it to. And this is what's happening in today's world. So, oh my gosh, yes, getting some good comments. We tend to dehumanize anyone we see as a barrier, like those who are in front of us in a long checkout line. Yeah, oh yeah, we dehumanize them because it's easy to oppress them. All right. Kathy's given us a good one. I sat in on a Cato meeting involving the coddling of the American mind. Coddling students can relate to dehumanization by undermining their autonomy and potential. Overprotection or shielding them from the challenges may send the message that they are incapable of handling adversity, reducing them to passive recipients of care rather than active agents in their own growth. By avoiding difficult topics or limiting exposure to opposing views, coddling denies students opportunity to develop critical thinking and empathy, effectively infantilizing them and treating them as fragile rather than capable. This approach stifles their preparation for real-world complexities, dehumanizing them and denying them full experience of being human, learning, struggling, and growth through challenges. You, Kathy, shoot me your email. You just want any book you want. And I will tell you, throughout my entire ordeal with Ohio SHRM and all the chapters, basically the chapters will not talk to me. We will not discuss this. So guess what? The programming that is illegal continues. Which is even worse, is the dehumanization continues. Dehumanization is groupism. I hate this group. I'm going to put you in this group. I'm going to put you over here. And so guess what? You're not human anymore. Anytime you have a diverse group of people, and I always love this. It's like, oh, diversity is really good. It is if you're tolerant. It is if you see each other as human beings. And I'll tell you, if you study Martin Luther King, Gandhi, all of the really great civil rights leaders, and Malcolm X, when he got back from Africa, was a changed man. His own people shot and killed him because he was a whistleblower. Yeah, I know what whistleblowing is all about. But I will tell you right now, all of them agreed. You've got to treat each other like human beings. All right? Now, let me show you the root of the problem here and why we do this. Okay, all of us are human. All of us are human. So, does everybody realize that? Does everybody realize that we're all related? That Adam and Eve story is true? All people come from Eve? And there's 7.2, 7.3 billion people in the world today. So that is one busy woman. That is a trooper right there. Okay. Well, Eden was in East Africa. So we all started off black. That's how we all started off. But my family thought Africa was, oh, this is hot. I mean, it's like Africa hot. So we thought, we got to get out of here. So we traveled north, made a left, and we turned into the Irish. Okay. Eventually came to America. Okay. Now, my wife's family went up and made a right, and she became Russian. All right. So we're all human. What's that mean? We all share the exact same neurology. We are all wired the same. Now, if you look, take your two fingers on the sides of your head like that and go way down to the base of your brain, you have two little balls down there. They're called your basal ganglia. That is your apprehension. That's good. Now, why do we have that? Because we have that because it was always safer to go to the negative for Fred Flintstone. Now, don't get me wrong here, because I get canceled because I talk about evolution. No, I am here to tell you that we have not evolved. We have not. Actually, I think there's a very good case if you watch the news every night that we are devolving. All right. No, we have not evolved. You've got those same basal ganglia that is apprehension that Fred Flintstone had. So if Fred Flintstone looked off in the distance and he saw what could be a lion or it could be a rock, he assumed it was a lion. You always go to the negative. Why? Because if you're wrong, you could get eaten. The consequence of error is through the roof. So that's how we're wired. And it was better for Fred to group things together. Like, these foods over here taste good. These foods over here taste bad. These little furry animals, I like them. They're pets. These furry animals over here will kill me. So guess what? We are hardwired to put people into groups. That kept Fred alive. Those little basal ganglia that make you go to the negative is what's working here. Okay? Don't do that. And you all experience this. Let me just ask you, if you're going to make a turn, let's say you're in the city you're in, and you're going to turn out of a parking lot, and it's a one-way street. Okay, it's a one-way street. So you got to turn right. Are you going to look both ways? How many people are going to look both ways? You're going to look left and right. Anybody? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I want you to, from now on, to think, okay, Fred Flintstone's looking out for me. Fred Flintstone is saying, look, it might not be safe. Yeah, you look both ways, Heather. Got some good comments up here. Oh, Jama, how you doing? Good to see you. I host a podcast called What's in a Name, and 80% of the people I interview stated that they believe the meaning of their name, their label identity, has affected their worldview and the actions they take in life. It's pretty interesting. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Identity to your past, identity to your tribe. Dave Chappelle talks about this all the time. Identity to your tribe. Oh, this is so dangerous. And I did this. I went against my tribe. Why? Because I wanted to correct our own. What do most people want to do? I want to protect our own. I want to protect them. That's what happened at Penn State. Penn State knew for 40 years that Jerry Sandusky was molesting children, and it kept its mouth shut. No, that's enabling. What they should have done was they should have corrected their own. And that's why I'm going out with FAIR now, because they want to correct everything. Kathy, my other comment to students is to peel away the skin. We all bleed the same. Yes, you are so right. Absolutely. Now, let's look at how this plays out in the real world. And understand, this is happening in America right now. This is happening right now. This is happening in your workplace. Anything that happens in the world today is going to be in your workplace this afternoon. Let me ask just a good question here. This is my cell phone. I know I'm not up on things. It's like a cell phone 10, whatever. You have like up to, I don't know, cell phone 20, 30, 50 now, something like that. Okay. Is this a good thing? Oh, I love this. I'm getting a lot of, it's like, I'm with you. I'm with you. I can communicate to my wife. I can turn it off when I don't want to hear from my wife. Okay. I can see what's happening with the Bengals, and that's all bad news for the most part. Oh, Kathy, if it's used correctly. Is a car a good thing? Not if you can't control it. Not if you can't control it. This has changed the world. So I can attack you and I can beat you. One of the guys that serves on our board of advisors for FAIR is Dr. Jonathan Haidt, Haidt of New York University. And he is the guy that basically groundbreaking research that this iPhone given to our kids too young is destroying their mental health. Do you know that a teenager or somebody in their 20s today has the same level of anxiety as a 1950s mental patient? Oh, you see why I'm not concerned with black kids or white kids or Japanese kids or Chinese. I'm concerned with kids. I don't care what your race or anything is. And that is what got me canceled. Now, here we go. Rwanda. This is horrific. 1994. How many people remember? You're gifted with age. How many people remember the Rwanda genocide? You remember that scene on the news? Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. Cheryl's giving me a hand up. Yep. Thank you. You're gifted with age. There you go. Okay. Here was the big bugaboo. If you had fewer than 10 cows, you were a Hutu. What does that mean? It means that you weren't as affluent. Because having more than 10 cows was good. So if you had more than 10 cows, you were a Tutsi. Okay, well, quite frankly, all right. So I want you to think right now of Democrats and Republicans. All right, you just think that. Okay, so what was happening? Oh my God, it was war, okay, against the Tutsis. And this, you recognize the rhetoric here? Shutting down your brain, shutting down your NPC. No cockroach ever gave birth to a butterfly. Kill them. Kill them. They deserve to die. They're no good. What weapons shall we use to conquer the cockroaches once and for all? In other words, they're telling them, pick up arms and kill any Tutsi that you can't. Notice to all cockroaches, they're going to kill you. Tutsis are snakes. Do you see the dehumanization? This sounds stupid, but it shuts down your NPC, it rewires your brain, and it works. In about 100 days, black on black, approximately 1.1 million people were murdered. Mate, doesn't it sound like Nazi Germany? Doesn't that sound like Pol Pot? How many genocides do you want to hear about? Doesn't that sound like the Armenians wiped out in 1922 by the Turks? Humans are humans are humans. And this tactic works on all humans. And it has got to stop. And this right here, stereotyping anyone, putting them into groups, is dangerous. And that is exactly what I am hearing from DEI leaders that they're going to do. And I hear it in every conference I've ever been to, and I have spoken. I've spoken at 7 SHRM diversity national conferences, and it makes me sick. I have spoken at over 25 diversity conferences. Every single conference, every single time, someone is stereotyping, speaker is stereotyping someone. And no one recognizes the danger. And what's really interesting? I will hear a speaker get up and say the most vile stereotyping things or illegal tactics. And the organization gets up and thanks them for their wonderful words. They don't recognize the harm. Now, here's a good one. Let's go to America. This is a lynching. I cut out the stuff that is just too horrible to even look at. But this is a lynching in the 20th century. Now look at this. Look at the people on the far left. It's a date. Let's go get something to eat and go down and see the lynching. There is a dead human being hanging 15 feet away. This woman in the middle there, she had on her little house dress and went down to see what was happening at the lynching. And see the guy with his hand up? How do you do that? How do you do that? Can everybody hear me? I just got a note from Amy that, okay, whatever. That's not a human being. That's not a human being. Didn't we use the same rhetoric for blacks in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s? Didn't we use the same rhetoric that Hitler used? Do you realize that South Africa's apartheid is exactly what we did in the United States with Jim Crow? There's apartheid means apart. So look at this. That's not a human being. And that was right here in America. Now, let's look at social media. Social media can be dangerous. It can be wonderful. I can stay in touch with my friends. I can talk to you. We can do this. You know, I can talk to people 2,000 miles away. Okay? But social media uses algorithms. And I talked about this in my legal update on AI. That's what this is, artificial intelligence. Let me show you the danger. This is Dylan Roof. Okay. This is the guy that on June 17th, 2015, went to an AME Black African Methodist church, shot and killed 9 Black people and wounded 1 other person. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, he went there, talked to them, got to know them, and then opened fire and killed them. He had never met in his life a Nazi, a white supremacist. He had no personal connection with any hate group. But when he starts entering search engines, into search for Google or all these others, Yahoo, he starts entering his questions. This is the type of stuff that the algorithm said he wants to see. So when he wants to see how many white people are getting killed by Blacks every day, then all of this garbage that is not true is coming to him, and he's reading it. Now, right away, what's happening to his frontal lobes? What's happening to the empathy in his MPC? It's shutting down. It's shutting down. He is literally rewiring his brain according to the garbage and lies that are going to him through Google. All right. So what did he say when he was arrested? Blacks are killing white people in the streets every day. That is not true. We're going to have a class later on statistics and DEI. Most of the things you think about DEI and about diversity in this country is simply not true. This was not true. Overwhelmingly, the biggest threat to Black people are other Black people. And I say we need to get involved and help. We need to stop the murder. Somebody had to do something. They rape, he's referring to Black men, rape 100 white women a day. That is not even close to true. That is not even close to true. Okay? What I did was minuscule to what they are doing to white people every day. That is not true. But it brainwashed him, and he became a mass murderer. Now, let's look at see what happens with dehumanization. Okay? Believe it or not, we look at people on a scale. Yeah, we look at people and sum them up. Are these people human? Are those people human? Now, let's just be logical for a minute. They're all human. We want to look out for all of them. But if you look and see how the typical American sees Mexican immigrants, we see Mexican immigrants as being about 75% human. Yeah. We don't think they're human. And this is in the 21st century. We have not evolved. But now you understand why. We group people together. We stereotype people. We group people together. We label them. And that shuts down our empathy. So they're just animals. They're not like us. British, Danish, Greek, and Spanish participants in the study saw Muslims as only being about 60% human. Do you see the danger of words? Okay, and yes, I've been told we should not treat each other like human beings because that takes away from the disproportional impact against minorities. No. Why don't we all work together? Why don't all humans work together? Now, this is very common type of stuff. And there's Ashley the Lion, which she's an interesting person to Google, okay? These are her teachings. White people are taught to be demons. And of course, all white people are racists. And if you want to PayPal her and donate to her cause, there you go. Now, right away, what does that do to all white people? What is the difference between saying all white people, yeah, why can't we treat all humans like humans? Lindsay, you're after my own heart. That is exactly what I'm saying. Is anybody confused? This is not rocket science, but do you see what the human brain does when we listen to this stuff? What is the difference between saying that all your white brothers and sisters are demons and saying that all Jews are taught to be demons? It's the same thing. Do we still hunt for witches today? A few hundred years ago, in Europe and in the United States, we look for witches. Now, let me just clue you in, those of you who maybe aren't fully aware, there are no witches, okay? They don't exist, okay? And if you had certain moles on your back, you know, and yeah, it's like, what are they going to say about us in 100 years? What a bunch of idiots. What a bunch of idiots. Don't you realize that you're all related? Don't you realize that whatever you do to one person is going to backfire and come back at you? Hate breeds hate. And there is no difference between the tactics that are being used. Now think about this. If someone is a hardcore Nazi, all right, and I mean radical right. If somebody is that type of person, they're going to swing their fist 180 degrees and hit you right in the jaw. What is the difference between that and a far left radical that swings her fist 180 degrees to the left? Don't you meet in the middle and become the same thing? You're doing the same thing that the Nazis are doing. And if you're going to get punched in the face, do you really care if that punch comes from the right or the left? Do you really care? It's all bad. It's all evil. This is why Michael Ventura said, choose your enemies well, lest you become just like them. No, do not escalate. Do not hit people who disagree with you. And this is what's causing. It's like, why would people do this? Because you can't see the hate that you immerse yourself in. Do you think this fish sees the water? No. I'm swimming in it. I'm living in it. And I've got everybody in my tribe telling me I'm right. That it's okay to cancel people when they speak up. That's a cult. That is a cult. Okay? So, oh no. I mean, this is still America, at least for right now it is. Quite frankly, I think we should correct our own rather than protect our own. We need to speak up. And I will tell you right now, my fear is that the pendulum is going to swing way to the right. And we're going to really harm our Black brothers and sisters and Latinos and all these other folks who are in the minority right now, because that pendulum's going to swing the other way. No, it's got to stop in the middle. That's what's got to happen. Okay, well, let's go back to our Nazi friend, Frank Mink. Frank Mink. Now, that kind of sounds weird. Yeah, here's all my Nazi friends. Okay, now, Frank Mink, has anybody seen the movie American History X? Anybody seen that? With Ed Norton? Yeah, this is based on this guy. Okay, yes, getting some yeses here. Yep. This is Frank Mink. Okay, now, Frank would routinely get beat up by his Black schoolmates. Okay, freeze right there. He is a little white kid. He's getting beat up by Blacks. Do you think he's going to grow up to be a good human being? I will tell you, That's boomerang bigotry, isn't it? I throw a boomerang of hate at Frank. Well, he's going to pick that boomerang up and he's going to throw it right back and hit somebody who's black. And then it's going to up and up and up and up and up. Well, one day he goes and visits one of his relatives far away who happens to be a Nazi. The Nazis embrace him. They welcome him. They make him feel like he's a human being. He turned into a hardcore Nazi, serious Nazi. So much, but that by the time he was 19 years old, he was arrested and convicted and went to prison for aggravated kidnapping. Okay, he gets out a couple of years later, got a big Nazi symbol on his neck, covered in Nazi tattoos, still wearing his Nazi boots. What kind of chance does he have in life? And he's a felon. Oh, okay. So this guy is just, I mean, you would think he should just go hang himself. That's it. His life is over. But then there's a guy. And I want you to think of the difference this guy made. Tony. Tony is a Jewish man, and he restores antique furniture, expensive, high-quality furniture. And one of Frank's friends said, hey, I got a job for you, but you're going to work for a Jew. And Frank said, that's okay. I'll work for him as long as I don't have to talk to him. Yeah, that's a real good relationship starting off right there, isn't it? Okay. So Frank goes to work for Tony. Tony tells him, yep, it's $100 a day. I want you to restore these chairs and all this furniture over here, and I will pay you $100 a day. Okay, so Frank gets to work. And at the end of the week on Friday, Frank goes up to Tony and says, you know, I'm all done. You owe me some money. Now, in Frank's mind, and this is directly from Frank, he says, I know Tony's going to Jew me out of that money. Okay, now, is Frank stereotyping and labeling Tony? Yeah. Tony is not stereotyping Frank. He's treating Frank like a human being when no one else, when probably none of us would. And Tony says, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now what do I owe you? And Frank says, $500. I worked 5 days. You owe me $500. And Frank is still sure that Tony is going to cheat him out of that money. And so Tony whips out this big wad of cash, $100 bills. He goes, yep. He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hands it to Frank. He says, hold on. Whips out another 100, gives it to Frank. He said, you're a really good worker. How'd you like to come and work for me full time? Look at this. Look at the maturity of Tony. And I don't know if the effects of the Holocaust and labeling and stereotyping have affected Tony. But Tony is now changing Frank. So Frank comes to work for Tony, and he works for several months. Tony keeps paying Frank. He's got a steady job. And a few months into it, Frank accidentally breaks a piece of furniture, breaks a chair. Now, Tony only has one rule. One rule. Don't break my furniture. That's the only rule he's got. Everything else is okay. I mean, look at him. He hires Nazis. Okay, so yeah, he only got one rule. All right. And Frank breaks this piece of furniture. And Frank goes to Tony. He said, look, he said, I really screwed up. It's my fault. I broke this chair. Frank is absolutely convinced that he's going to get fired. And Tony looks at the chair, looks at Frank and says, whips out the $500 to pay Frank for the week, hands it to Frank. He says, don't worry about it. See you next week. I'll tell you right there, no one has ever treated Frank like that in his whole life, much less somebody who's Jewish. Frank went home still living with his mom, took off his Nazi boots, threw them down the steps. Because can you see what's happening in Frank's mind? It's rewiring. Remember our subconscious bias program from last month? All those little wires are rewiring. His MPC is wiring in his frontal lobes. The Tony treats him decent, treats him like a human being. Frank said, I never went to another Nazi meeting. I never supported Nazis again. Today, Frank, yeah, I got a great comment here. Yeah, Frank is waking up. Yes, because someone saw him as a human being. He didn't dehumanize the quote-unquote Nazi. Yeah, Frank was a Nazi. All right, but you see, he's a human being. And now today, Frank is one of the best and most popular tolerant speakers, diversity speakers in this country. In this country. And you want to hear something else that's really funny to show you what a wicked sense of humor God has? Frank later discovered that he's part Jewish. Wow, that's a thriller, isn't it? Yeah, and you just got to see these stories. This is a true story. This is what I'm saying. You don't dehumanize anybody. And I'll tell you, Martin Luther King, one of my heroes. And I'll tell you right now, the things that I hear from most DEI people completely fly into the face of what Martin Luther King taught us. And I'll tell you right now, he's saying people don't get along because they fear each other. That's right. That's Fred Flintstone. They fear each other because they don't know each other. And they don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. That is as true now as when he said that 55 years ago. That is true. So we got to do better. We got to do better. And I'm here to tell you, this is what FAIR is all about. And we have got to stop the hate. So you want to stop this in your organization? Any questions, any comments, deep concerns? I love the comments. Any more before we close up for today? Everybody got her? Put this in place. And I will send to you all who have signed up for FAIR an invite for our first planning session, which will be on December 19th. Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that. This is my passion in life. I absolutely want to change the world. Or we're going to be in such terrible shape. Okay. And I will keep you posted as to what's happening with the videos, because I'll tell you right now, I've been working on those for 10 years. FAIR has embraced these. We're going to work together, and this is going to be a national launch across all the tens of thousands of members across FAIR. And I'll tell you right now, it's impossible to tell somebody not to follow all the teachings of DEI if they don't know any better. It's like, okay, I want a diverse workforce. I want to include everybody, but I don't know how. Great. FAIR is going to show you how. And I will tell you, it's the only program in the country, believe me, I've looked. Before I publish a book, I know how to research to see what's out there. No one else has such an approach as what FAIR does. And it's all legal. It involves all humans. It includes everybody. It doesn't alienate anybody. And this is what we've been waiting for. I am so excited for 2025 that I will keep you all posted. Okay. And if any of you out there do have groups like safety councils or trade groups that want to come, I'm going to post the date here in February. We're actually going to do it in February because I've got several groups that say, yeah, can we come to your legal update and hear the legal stuff, all the legal stuff? And I said, absolutely, yes. So if you have groups, trade associations, okay, hey, I've got the grocers. I've got a lot of other folks who are going to come for free. You are welcome too, because you got to know what the law says for every single year, and you got to have an inclusive work environment that includes everybody. Because I'll tell you right now, if you care about the color, if you care about the gender, if you care about the religion of somebody, you're not going to be in business much longer. In October 1st, there was 1.4 jobs in America for every unemployed person looking for a job. You hear me? 40% more jobs than there are people looking for work. You had better embrace what I'm talking about here, or you won't be here. Okay. Oh, thank you. Great. Thank you. Great grandchildren not being taught the same things. Yes. Eric Smith just texted me and said he is hearing great things about FAIR in Ohio. Good. We are getting very excited here. We're up to almost 700 members in the span of a month and a half. Your people love this message because they are sick of the hate too. All right. Any final thoughts on anything at all? Please join me at fairforall.org, Ohio. And if you go to scottwarrick.com, as big as God, right there on the homepage is a hot link to take you to join FAIR. I want you to join me and say, we are done with the hate. We're done with the politics. I want all my brothers and sisters who are humans to join together. That sounds easy to understand, but that is not what's happening in today's world. All righty. Hey, everybody, have a fantastic weekend and go out and pay some attention to another human.